Hello there! What we have here are two pieces of vintage beekeeping equipment. Both of them come from the Walter Kelly Co., which is defunct now. It was bought out in 2018 by the Mann Lake Company. It was one of the last old beekeeping equipment manufacturers, the other one being Dedant. What we have here is a wax melter, and what we have here is a honey separator pail. And I'll show you how both of them work. This is a wax melter. The way it works is with hot water. Water is put into the chamber here, and then the heating element heats it up, and you put your wax inside, you put your top on it, and it begins to make the water hot, and it dissolves the wax. You can see we have a little bit of a homemade filter here for the first level of filtration. And you're supposed to have it drip into something, whether it be into a mold or what you have. There are a couple concerns with this. One, it doesn't have a top, but my good friend in our beekeeping club, Mark, he actually made us a nice plywood one that we're going to paint and put a handle on and make it functional. The other issue with it is one that Mark fixed for me, because this had a really nasty wire on it. He put a whole new end to it because it had a old one that was, I wouldn't want to plug that in, I'll just say that. And on top of it, this project box is not attached. I'm still trying to think of ways to attach that project box. And right here is the thermostat for it. There used to be a product you bought from Walter Kelly right here that would do this more fancy and close it in and it's screwed in and all that. We don't have that. There is a replacement out there that would work for a hot water heater. It's about $200, and do I care about it that much? Maybe if this works real well and I'm very happy with it, maybe we'll kind of fully restore it there. But the electric was repaired on this by Mark, but I really don't like electrical tape in that attached, so we're going to use some heat shrink and close off those wires just to make sure there's no chance of fire. Now this is a honey separator pail, and you can still find some of these that are like manufactured in China, but I really can't find these in modern beekeeping catalogs. I'm not sure about when they stopped making them. It would be my guess this one is from the 1970s because the metal is galvanized. That means it can contaminate the honey that it goes through. So we're going to have to clean this up and seal it with Camco and some food grade paint. But then it should function for us. This is also a Walter Kelly product from the era. And you may ask, well, is it just a bucket? No, it's actually a little ingenious about how it works. You have these two chambers here, the small chamber and the big chamber. And in the small chamber, there's actually a hole here in the bottom so liquid can move through. The way it works is you have the wax drippings and the honey drip into this big chamber right here. And because wax floats and liquids stay below it, including honey, this chamber here won't get any wax in it. So what you can do is you can just take it and dump it forward through this little pipe right here. You could even maybe attach a pump to it, but I don't think that's something we want to do. The first thing we're going to do is give this a dip. We are going to dip it in citric acid and water. That'll take about 2-3 days for it to really just kind of clean off the surface of that of any rust. You may ask, why citric acid, Charles? I could say because, you know, I'm worried about it being too corrosive on this surface, that it's also something I want to be food grade. Those things are true, but not as true as I'm just clumsy. I always worry about burning myself with something like that, and, you know, why not just use something benign and wait a few days? Now, I'm not sure how revealing this is right here, and I'm going to do some research. But this is the pail manufacturer that they were partnered with. Alright, and to get around the tip, we'll just add a tiny bit more. I really find this device very fascinating because they thought of a lot of different things in it. Like the steam that it produces goes up here, goes into this little pot, and it leaks back into the wax melter. I think that's really ingenious. Wax melters really haven't changed much from this. They still look just like this. So I would argue that this technology hasn't changed in probably more than 50 years. And here we are. Admittedly not the prettiest, but very functional. And I'm so happy with the job that Mark did with it. Like the fact that he got it up and running. So we're gonna take this off and we're gonna see what's beneath. All right, let's unscrew the first part. Here we are. It's pretty ugly, but now I don't worry about it burning anything down. Here we are 3 days later. There's a black soot covering this, and that is a lot of the old galvanized crud, and it comes right off. Like, see how it's just sparkling right now? Like, sure, the label isn't going to make it, and I'll probably remove the rest with the heat gun. Let me show you a cool effect. This must have made an air chamber when this bucket was set there. So this is the original galvanized, and this is it after the citric acid. So now it's in beautiful shape. We'll get the rest of that off. But I have the extra challenge of in here, all this wax. Like the wax is up to 40 years old, and the inside's the most important part because that's where the food grade stuff is. So I'm going to try my best to get the wax off. Here's a second soak, and you can see we got the zinc off. Right, now you can just wipe it right off after dissolving it in citric acid. I'm going to give it one more dip, just to kind of be sure. Well, this is our final product now. Because it wasn't fully immersed, I got this line that is just there now. It was also really good at getting some of the old beeswax out of the center, but now that the zinc is gone from this galvanization and it's no longer galvanized, I'm starting to actually get a little bit of rust at the bottom. I could take a brush to that and get it off. I'm going to try to clean it up just a tiny bit more, but this is what I got. And I even fully immersed it to see if, hey, maybe I can get it to all match up in color. I couldn't. This is just what we ended up with, and that's it, and that's okay. The citric acid has destabilized most of the wax in there. Still a little bit left, though. I did scrape out most of the rust with a brass brush, because once we put this epoxy on it, everything is there and you're going to be able to see it. You may ask, why are you using epoxy, Charles? We already got all of the zinc off it, so arguably this should be food safe. Well, there's probably trace amounts of zinc left, and we don't want that. The other part is that this will keep this from rusting, because now that the galvanization is gone, the minute it gets wet, it's going to rust very quickly. We chose a white epoxy specifically for appliances because this is more food safe. Almost every other epoxy will do, but we do need to get some type of coat on this. And there are clear coats you could use, like Cam Coat, that's an epoxy. I like to do colors because when it's a clear coat, it's hard to tell where it's on there fully. And I need to definitely inside this bucket know that I got every square inch I could. Here's the first layer. It's going to look a lot better when it's milky white and even. And here we are. We have a fully sealed bucket down there. And up top we have some cappings that I just uncapped. Alright, we're going to check on and off with this and see how it works. See how well it does. So we have honey coming out, which is pretty cool, which I presume that is because we are making the honey warm. It took an hour to get working, but it's working really good now. I'm going to push some of that wax into the pot right there, but it's dripping all right. Beautiful. I love the smell of the beeswax melting. Yeah, honestly, it's one of my favorite smells. And here we are. We melted down all the cappings, and we got a lot of honey there. Well over 2 gallons, I think. I'm very happy with this system. Now I don't have to sit and let cappings drip for 2-3 days. I'm going to make sure the quality of the honey is fine because I want to make sure that the honey isn't burnt. But this is such a neat little contraption here. Alright, we got our filter set up. I'm going to give it a try here. See how dumping it goes. There we go. Wow, it's moving a lot slower than I thought it would. This little guy isn't great. So let's reseal it and see if we can dump the bucket. Okay, that's sealed. Let's try dumping it the way that I think it kind of was made to. Just like that. Just like that. Now I wish it had a lip on there, because a lip would make a heck of a lot less mess. Now it's going through the filter quickly, and I gotta say, it's really clean honey. The heat made pretty much all the crud go into the other chamber. You can just keep filling this up. The wax more easily comes off the sides because of the smoothness of the epoxy. Well, the good thing is that now that I have the wax out, I can just flip this upside down on top of my capping tank, and there's a little bit of runny honey left in it, and it's good for next time. It has some wax here on the side, and I will see how easy it is to remove that. Might be able to just get the pail itself hot and have it leak to the bottom. Don't know what I'll do, but honestly, it doesn't really matter because wax goes in that thing anyway. So I consider this a success.